Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Reserve Bank of India yesterday has withdrawn the circulation of 2000 rupees currency notes in pursuance to the central bank's clean note policy. The 2000 rupee banknote denomination continues to be the legal tender, which means that the consumers can continue to use the currency. But this whole issue of introducing the banknotes, then banning it, what is really the logic behind it? One has failed to understand. Now, would you call this a prudent currency management, or would you call it an act first, think later step by the Modi government? I'm joined by none other but a very special person, former Union Finance Minister Yashwant Sinha with us. Sir, thank you so much for joining, and good to see you, hale and hearty after a long while. Really a pleasure to have you on the Federal, sir. So, Mr. Sinha, my first question to you is that 2000 rupees banknotes were introduced in 2016, and 8 years down the line, the government has all of a sudden decided to withdraw the notes without giving any logic. What would you really say to this step by the government?
The first point which I'd like to make is that the currency of any country is a very important aspect of the life of the people in that country. And globally, there is something called the strength of the national currency, which imparts a great deal of respect to that country. We don't have a convertible rupee yet, but we know it for a fact that there are many countries in our neighborhood which use Indian currency, where Indian currency is allowed to be used. Nepal, for instance. So, currency management has to be done with a great deal of care. It is not something which is given to ad hoc steps here and there. Now, you mentioned about demonetization. I remember in 2016, when it suddenly happened, people like me pointed out that it was not the right step to take. It caused a great deal of harm to the economy. If you look at the data of growth rate, you will find that Indian economy, which was around 8% growth rate before demonetization, to 4% after demonetization. And the untold suffering was caused to the people. They had to queue up for their own money. Another thing which they did, 1,000 rupee notes, which were in circulation in my time. And then replaced it without any rhyme or reason with 2,000 rupee notes. Now, if the purpose was to fight black money, then you can't make it easier by introducing a higher denomination and enable the black marketeers and the black money holders to now do it more easily. So it was a silly step then. Now today, 7 years down the line or so, they have abolished, or they have said that 2,000 rupee notes will be withdrawn. Why? What has changed? You know, in my time, I was mentioning to you, we introduced 1,000 rupee notes after a great deal of deliberation, forethought, discussion with RBI, between the RBI and the government. We looked at the state of the economy, we looked at the note circulation figures, we looked at the transactions which were taking place, and finally came to the conclusion that the introduction of 1,000 rupee note will be useful for the economy. So we introduced 1,000 rupee notes. When 2,000 rupee notes were introduced and 1,000 rupee notes were abolished in 2016, as I mentioned to you, I particularly was not very happy and didn't see any a strong reason for doing this.
Right.
Now, the government cannot be right, both in 2016 when they introduced 2,000 rupee notes and today when they are withdrawing 2,000. Either they were wrong then or they are wrong now. And as I was mentioning to you, currency management cannot be done on an ad hoc basis.
But Mr. Sinha, are you saying, yes, Mr. Sinha, are you saying that the 2016 decision on demonetization, which was taken, and how 2,000 rupees notes were introduced, at that time also we saw the adverse reactions, how it impacted the economy. Now that the 2,000 rupee notes will be withdrawn, do you see any serious pros and cons to this effect now?
I'll like to make the point. We were talking about currency management, that the government should come out with a policy because they have interfered with, let's say, currency management. They have done one thing in 2016, and now 7 years down the line, they're doing something else. So the point I'm making is government should come out with a very clear policy on currency management. Is it the policy of the government, for instance, today, that we'll have 100, 200 rupee notes ending with 500 rupee notes and nothing more than 500 rupee notes? You take that decision, tell the people, so that people will then know that the highest denomination notes will be 500 rupee notes and not anything more. Not 1,000, not 2,000, not 5,000. You declare that as a policy, but I find that the government did not have a policy in 2016. Government has not declared its policy today. When I'm talking of government, I'm talking of all authorities, including the RBI.
Right.
So this ad hoc currency management will not do. I will suggest strongly that the government should come out with a policy and tell the people what the policy is.
But what do you think are the intentions of the government, Mr. Sinha, when the government has taken a decision? First, it introduces it, then it bans it, without giving any reasons to the people of India. And do the people of India not have the right to know why Modi government introduced the demonetization now? They have a court legitimacy that, look, we won the court case from the Supreme Court. But are they not answerable to the people now that they have taken the decision to withdraw the 2,000 rupee denomination notes?
They were answerable to the people then. They are answerable to the people now. And this withdrawal of 2,000 rupee notes, in the absence of the reintroduction of 1,000 rupee, does not make sense to me.
Right.
Because 500 rupee notes, imagine the number of notes. Now, if it was the intention, or it is the intention to go completely digital, that all transactions will be digital, then you have to prepare the infrastructure for that. In our rural economy, for instance, a lot of number of transactions, majority of transactions take place in cash. And you don't have the infrastructure in rural areas to go digital.
Absolutely.
So it is not like to sit in Delhi and say, we'll go digital and so much digitization has taken place. But it does not apply to the poor people. And I'd like to emphasize that it's the poor who suffer the most.
Absolutely. But are we going to see a second disaster in making? Is there a possibility of that as well? Because the people, are making a joke out of the fact that probably again we'll have to stand in the line. Government all of a sudden has taken this decision. Are we going to see something unfolding on the lines of what we saw in 2016?
I am surprised at one step which the government has announced. Suppose I have only rupees 1 lakh with me. Fortunately, I don't have any 2,000 rupee currency notes with me. But suppose I had 100,000 rupees and I want to change it. I'll have to go to the changing place, whether it's a bank or RBI branch, 20 times, 5 times, because I can't do it more than 20,000 at one time.
Right.
Now, what is the rationale of that? I can't understand. It will cause, and having 100,000 currency notes in our household, which is explained, is not an unusual situation. People will perhaps have much more. So this whole thing appears to me as if not much thought has gone behind it, and it has been announced again very suddenly. If you ask me, again, it could be political. You and I are not discussing Karnataka election results. We are discussing this banning or withdrawal of 2000 rupee notes. So the people's attention has been shifted to something very new. Modi ji is abroad enjoying himself, and the people of this country can suffer their own fate.
Right. So you're very clearly saying that apparently this is a political call done to divert attention from the failure of BJP in Karnataka. Is that what
That
you?
is one. The second is even more sinister, and I hope I am wrong in this. The second is we have now state elections coming, state assembly elections in some states. We have national elections, Lok Sabha elections in less than a month's time. Like demonetization, which was done then, and the government was accused of this. Is it the intention of the government to make it very difficult for parties in the opposition to financially manage their election? I hope I am wrong. But could it be ruled out? Perhaps not.
But how will we come to know the reality, Mr. Sinha? It's a serious point which you have raised, that to cripple the financial spine of the opposition parties, this could have been a step taken by the government. Now, how does one prove that really? And opposition is really, raising a lot of allegations since yesterday. Yes.
You can never prove it. You can never prove it because no party in opposition is going to come out and say, look, I have cash reserves of so much, and I want to exchange. But I know the reality is that parties do have cash.
Right.
So they will be inconvenienced, and especially with this step that you can't exchange more than 20,000 rupees in one go.
Right. But Mr. Sinha, you also said that the government must come out with a clear policy on currency management. Do you think Modi government is really going to do that when they don't want to give any explanations? They don't want to put out anything in paper. They will leave the citizens of the country, just speculating as to what is happening in the political corridors of Modi government. Why will they really bring out a policy? Or are they capable of doing that?
No, I'm sure they are capable. If they are not capable at the political level, surely the bureaucracy of this country in the Ministry of Finance and in the Reserve Bank is capable. They are efficient people. And if they are asked to clearly come out with a draft policy, they will do so. And the government at the political level has only to approve a reasonable cash currency management policy. So it is not that we are not capable of doing it. We certainly are. It's just a question of whether we have the will to do it.
Absolutely. Okay, sir, going away from this 2000 rupee currency withdrawal, which has just happened, now I would like to talk to you about the Karnataka elections also. And talking specifically about the BJP, what you really, how would you really see the Karnataka result vis-a-vis BJP? Then we later talk about the opposition. Yes.
My first point is I see it as a personal defeat and setback for the Prime Minister, because he invested so much time and energy campaigning in Karnataka elections that he eclipsed all state leaders, apart from Mr. Bomai, who happened to be the chief minister. I do not recall seeing any other state leader campaigning in Karnataka. They might be campaigning at the local level, but that did not attract national attention. So it was Mr. Modi's election. And if it was Mr. Modi's election, then clearly Mr. Modi has lost. If suppose BJP has had won Karnataka elections, then he would have taken the credit for it, the Prime Minister. Everyone in the BJP would have said, look, the Prime Minister campaigned so hard, so long, so energetically, and we have won because of him. So the captain must take if he wants to take the credit, he must take the blame. So it is a setback personally for Mr. Modi. That's point number one. Point number two is that it puts paid to the slogan that the BJP coined of a Congress Mukt Bharat. It was the most undemocratic slogan that a party could have thought of in a democracy. But they did it, Congress Mukt Bharat. So what do they have to say now? That's the second one. The third point is that parties in the opposition all over the country have got a shot in the arm as a result of the thumping victory of the Congress party in Karnataka. It's a thumping victory. It is not merely a little over the majority mark. If it was just a little over the majority mark, the BJP would have been up to some mischief. I don't rule out their being up to mischief in later years, but for the timing, they have not been able to do it. So it has been a very decisive mandate. It's a mandate which has gone in favor of a party. They wanted finished in our polity. It has gone in favor of a party which was down and out, and therefore it has encouraged not only that party, but all parties.
Right. Mr. Sinha, you've seen BJP closely and the manner in which Yadurappa was sidelined in Karnataka. Many people say that this was one of the key factors having kept Yadurappa out of the normal scheme of things. Do you think that had Yadurappa been in active campaigning and he would have been brought on the forefront, things would have been a little different for BJP?
The BJP shot itself in the foot, not today or yesterday, but many years ago. You will remember that when Mr. Modi became, or before he became Prime Minister, there was a talk in the corridors of power that all those above 75 will be phased out. They'll be given no responsibilities. And a number of senior leaders of the BJP were sidelined as a result of that rule, which was never discussed in party forums, but nonetheless became a rule. So, Mr. Yadurappa crossed 75, the age of 75 some time ago. BJP, and Mr. Modi in particular, would have been going back on their own rule if they brought him back as chief ministerial candidate. That they could not do. And poor Mr. Yadurappa had therefore to retire from active politics. He was not in the race for anything. So therefore his campaigning also did not cut much ice with the people of Karnataka. But that apart, I would like to say that it's anybody's guess what would have been the result if Mr. Yadurappa had been actively participating in the campaign or had been projected as something. The point is that BJP was already so defamed, people were so unhappy with the BJP that perhaps even Mr. Yadurappa would not have been able to make a difference in the results.
But sir, do you believe that the BJP vis-a-vis brand Modi has begun to lose its sheen, especially after the Karnataka elections? And many people say that there's so much of arrogance, there's so much of complacency now in BJP that, has it really begun to lose its sheen?
From personal experience, I'd like to tell you that people of this country do not like hubris. I am God. I am the most powerful. I am the most learned. I am the wisest. Let people make a judgment. You can't go around tom-tomming this. Look at the number of images Mr. Modi tried to project in Karnataka during the campaign. Sometimes he was Vishwesvaraya, sometimes he was the king of Mysore, sometimes he was this, sometimes he was that. Tons of flowers were showered on him. Now we know who managed all this and how. No, all this now is old hash. Nobody is impressed. Initially, people were very impressed because they had not seen the like of this in our politics before. I worked with Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Would an Atal Bihari Vajpayee gone to campaign in West Bengal and said, Didi, oh Didi? Would an Atal Bihari Vajpayee projected himself in a manner in which Mr. Modi projected in the Karnataka elections? He wouldn't have done. Absolutely. Either would have Mr. Advani. They were a straightforward people. They approached the electorate in a straightforward manner. They said things which were right, which were in the interest of people, and left the judgment to the people and accepted the judgment. Right. We lost the election I was in the BJP then, we lost the election in 2004 and quietly went out of office. Mr. Advani lost the vote of, Mr. Vajpayee lost the vote of confidence in the Lok Sabha by just one vote. Can you imagine a Mr. Modi doing that, losing a vote of confidence in Lok Sabha by just one vote? No. These things don't happen anymore because the nature of the polity of this country has undergone a fundamental change with the advent of Mr. Modi.
But as Modi government completes its 9 years, and Mr. Sinha, if I may ask you very bluntly and candidly, is brand Modi politically exposed before the people of India? And people do not believe in what Modi is saying.
I would tend to agree with you. I think the shelf life of brand Modi is over.
Okay.
And even I was saying this on some other channel, that I personally feel that the 2019 mandate is a stolen mandate. If Pulwama and Balakot had not happened, then the results of that election in 2019 would have been different. And unfortunately, Pulwama happened. Many of our Jawans were martyred in that attack. Then Balakot happened. Mr. Modi used it extensively in the elections of 2019. And naturally, the people of India were impressed. But things are different now. We have unprecedented unemployment in this country. People are facing price rise. There is corruption all around. Just as if nothing has changed. It has gotten worse. And therefore, people feel cheated. And that's why brand Modi has suffered an image loss.
Last two questions, Mr. Sinha, about the opposition. Are you hopeful about the opposition coming together for 2024 and also countering the BJP government strongly? Because there are a lot of ifs and buts, a lot of questions as to whether at all the Congress can bring together the party, or if Congress is not at the fulcrum of things, can all the opposition parties really come together to defeat the Modi government? Yes, sir.
I've been holding this opinion for a long time. And I still hold the opinion that this talk of opposition unity is so much blah, blah, blah. If you look at the political map of India today, what would you find? You would find that there are a large number of very important states where the BJP is up against regional parties. Then there are some states where the BJP is directly up against the Congress party. And the strength of the BJP in the previous two elections had been that in these 200 odd seats, they were able to resoundingly defeat Congress party. So while the responsibility for stopping the BJP rests on the shoulders of the regional parties wherever they are strong in their states. For instance, let's take West Bengal. Is Mamata Banerjee is in a position to bring down the tally of BJP from 18 in the last election, Lok Sabha election, to let's say 8. Is she in a position to do that? She'll have to take the call, not the Congress. But as I said, there are states like Himachal, then you have Rajasthan, you have Madhya Pradesh, you have Chhattisgarh, states where BJP is in direct contest with the Congress party. And this is where they have got their largest number. UP Congress is not a factor, it's Samajwadi Party. But this is where BJP has got its largest numbers. Now, therefore, if the Congress party is not able to check the BJP in these states, and Samajwadi Party is not able to check them in UP where they got the bulk of seats, then nobody can stop the BJP from coming to power in 2024.
Right.
So I am firmly of the view that the responsibility to stop the BJP in its tracks rests more on the Congress party and not so much on the regional parties.
Absolutely.
And therefore, the Congress party, instead of wasting its time on how many seats it will contest in, let's say, Telangana or wherever, should concentrate on these states.
Right.
And these states now include Karnataka also. What is the lesson, a very important lesson from the Karnataka results? You'll remember everyone was saying it's a triangular contest because the JDS was also in the picture. But the people had already made up their mind. One, that they will defeat the BJP, and two, that they will choose the Congress party to defeat the BJP. So that's why the mandate went in favor of the Congress party. Before that, we have the example of Aam Aadmi Party. The people made up their mind to give a majority to Aam Aadmi Party, and they gave Aam Aadmi Party a thumping majority in Delhi and now in Punjab. So trust the wisdom of the people. And instead of falling in this trap of opposition unity, concentrate on your own strength wherever it is.
Okay.
To defeat the BJP.
So for 2024, one should not be asking questions on opposition unity, rather how the regional parties and how their own strongholds can be protected and won politically by the parties. Is that what's going to be the thumb rule?
Including the Congress party. Because I feel that the Congress party will have to play a very, very important role in this.
Right.
If BJP is going to win all the seats in, let's say, Himachal, in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, as they did in the last election, then how can you stop the BJP? And therefore, whose responsibility it is to stop the BJP in these places? It's the Congress party's responsibility.
Right.
It's not TMCs, it's not DMKs, it's not TRS or BRS.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback as to how you felt after listening to Mr. Yashwant Sinha, and subscribe to our channel and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.